a professor at the Center for Trust, Peace and Social Relations at Coventry University. You're in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Thank you so much for your time, Jan. Is this just another bloody chapter of this awful civil war that has produced one of the world's biggest humanitarian crises, or could it be a turning point?
A turning point, this event is such probably not. But what is happening at the moment, and I think this is the background of why we see this RSF offensive now, is there is indirect talks to start in Washington, D.C. over the next days. There's already a delegation of 3 people from TASIS, the government close to the Rapid Support Forces, in Washington right now. There will be a SAF delegation coming as well, apparently, and it will be the U.S. Advisory on Middle East and African Affairs, Bulos, leading this negotiation strand. And as always, when negotiations on ceasefire arrangements come to the table, which is happening now, we see an uptick in fighting. And I think this might be the motivation behind RSF's offensive just now.
I'll come back to the diplomacy in a moment, Jan, if we have time, because the humanitarian disaster that's been unfolding, how has it been allowed to happen? Are both sides abusing civilians? It does seem as if they almost don't care about the fatalities of Sudan's civilians in their desire to take control of the state.
To be fair, from all we see, it's exactly as you say. Both parties don't care about civilian losses. Both parties even use hunger, food, all these as a weapon. You see both sides, and here it's really no difference between SAF and RSF in Darfur, seizing 8 convoys, looting 8 convoys, taking food for their own purposes, and especially around Al-Fashir. There were regular attacks by RSF on refugee camps outside Al-Fashir, displacing thousands of people, basically just for tactical military positions. So there has been no respect whatsoever for human life, and the situation in Al-Fashir itself must be incredibly dire.
And why is it allowed to happen? Because the fighters on both sides know that they'll never be held accountable? Is it because it's an internal conflict? When it's an international conflict, we see international diplomacy in full gear. But here, there are little bits of pieces of news, and you're saying that there are going to be talks in Washington. The RSF wants to establish a separate government, but yet nothing really seems to be working. Is it because of a lack of accountability?
In theory, there is accountability. I mean, there is ICC procedures, there is sanctions on also by the US on both of the leading generals. But I mean, the problem we have to face simply, this is not Gaza, this is not the Ukraine. So with all the suffering, it's just in like international attention, be it in media, be it diplomatically. It's just not comparable, and this is a bit of an issue since even in the region, everybody looks to Gaza at the moment. We have to say that the Americans are working on a diplomatic push now for quite a bit. Cynically speaking, this might be even triggered by Donald Trump's attempt to be considered for the Nobel Peace Prize. But in the end, they have established a new diplomatic tool, the so-called Quad, where the US are together with the Egyptians, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia, so the biggest kind of international stakeholders in this war. And we have seen diplomatic movement we haven't seen for quite a while. So at least at the moment, there is a few things happening that we haven't seen for quite a while.
We've only got about 40 seconds, Jan. What prospects do you give the Washington idea? What percentage of chance of success do you give it?
Unfortunately, I mean, we have to distinguish between short-term and long-term successes. I would see a certain possibility of a ceasefire happening if American pressure remains persistent and strong, especially on the international actors. We won't see any initiative of really politically resolving this, bringing more actors to the table and come to something like a peace process. I think this is unfortunately very far away.
Jan, we always appreciate you sharing your expertise with us. Thank you so much.